Good morning and welcome to the first quarter earnings conference call. My name is Brandon and I'll be your operator for today. At this time, all participants are in a listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question and answer session during which you can dial *1 if you have a question. Please note this conference is being recorded, and I will now turn it over to John Legorg. You may begin, sir.
Great. Thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone that's joined us here this morning for our 2017 first quarter call for Grand West Transportation. I've got our CEO, Will Traynor, our newly appointed Chief Operating Officer, Terence Kandersky, here as well, and our CFO, Aaron Triplett. I'm just going to read the little forward-looking disclaimer statement, and then we'll get started here. This call will contain forward-looking statements which reflect the expectations of management regarding Grand West Transportation Group, Inc.'s future growth, results of operations, performance, and business prospects and opportunities. The words believes, anticipates, plans, expects, intends, projects, estimates, and similar expressions are intended to identify forward-looking statements. Forward-looking statements involve significant risks and uncertainties, should not be read as guarantees of future performance or results, and will not necessarily be accurate indications of whether the times at which such performance or results will be achieved. This call does not form part of any offer of securities or constitute a solicitation of any offer to purchase or subscribe for securities. And that being said, I'm going to hand this over to Will.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for calling in today. I'm very pleased to announce our Q1 highlights. Q1, we've seen record revenues. We produced over $4.5 million in revenues. We achieved a gross profit of $952,000, and I might add that was on 12 bus sales. We seen a record gross profit margins on those sales of about 21%. Note industry standards are running around 10. Average price, selling price of our vicinity bus in Q1 was averaging about $350,000. This is up significantly from our last quarter where we've seen our last year-to-date quarter, which we've seen at about $290,000. Our loss for the quarter in adjusted EBITDA is about $540,000. In Q1, we actually raised $13.6 million in a bought deal, strengthening our balance sheet. This greatly reduced, we used this capital to reduce our debt by about $3 million. That $3 million in debt reduction actually equates to about $20,000 per month in debt service reduction. We are upgrading our maintenance and staging facility, this capital has allowed us to increase our production. We're now producing about 40 buses per month. At the end of Q1, we had a working capital of about $13 million and $5 million in cash. Deliveries. In Q1, we actually seen 32 buses arrive in our Aldergrove location, which 12 were delivered out to customers. The balance will be delivered in Q2. Production, shipping, delivery is underway for our BC Transit production. BC Transit in 2017 has deliveries of 97 buses. 55 will be delivered here in Q2 and into Q3. We'll deliver over 30 buses in Q2, and we're on track to deliver over 200 buses during 2017. Due to our expansion of production and increased deliveries, we've had to increase our staffing and expand our operations. We've made arrangements to take the full workshop that we were releasing across the street from our Aldergrove location here to ensure timely deliveries. Manufacturing, production, and quality. We've seen senior management recently made a trip over to our manufacturing facilities in Weichai in southern China. We're pleased to see that our ramp-up is coming along very well. Production's coming along off the line very well. We're currently operating our own production line. Into our future, Buy America. We really see most of our major focus this year in our U.S. operations and U.S. sales. Last week I visited down to Atlanta, Georgia, where we are setting up production for our Buy America production. We see that ramp up coming together very well with very little risk. The U.S. is where we really is going to see our focus for our major growth. The Canadian operations are running extremely well. We're seeing repeat orders right across Canada from many transit authorities, and our focus really is on the U.S. We want to get set up and be in production, as I stated, in Q3. We see that being very achievable. We've delivered some pretty good orders in the U.S. We got a nice 10-size order into MARTA, which is one of the largest transit authorities in the U.S., and those are in full operation. And we'll see in Q3, we'll see deliveries into the Atlanta airport for our CNG buses. Our growth and backlog for 2016 was about $4.5 million. Today, we sit at about $100 million. On March 14th, to help us with our growth and expansion, we hired Taras Kurdinsky to the position of Chief Operating Officer to assist the company with our continued growth. He's making a significant impact in organization and efficiencies and banking, helping us greatly get to where we need to deliver the 100 million backlog in buses we have this year. I'm going to introduce Taras here. He's going to speak briefly on what we're doing.
Good morning, everyone. Being 60 days with Grand West, I'm just got to say I'm really excited to have joined such a great team. All the people here have a very positive attitude and are really excited about the future growth at Grand West. What I've been kind of focused on for the first 60 days is really we're focused on executing on deliveries. And to execute on deliveries, we're focusing on three pillars. The first being structure, our organizational structure, and looking to streamline and enhance processes. Second is stabilization. We want to provide a balance and a unified direction in executing on deliverables. And finally, scaling. We're moving to significant increases in production and deliverables. So there's kind of four fronts to that. We've engaged with financial institutions, looking to find a best fit financial partner that is going to meet our needs not only in the near term, but as we scale our operations, that we have a financial structure in place that's going to grow along with us. As Will had mentioned, our physical location, we are renting part of a building. We're now in the process of taking over the entire building and going to have 2 run-through bays in that facility. We're actually scoping an ERP system, so we're scoping with providers, looking for some technology to enhance our operational efficiencies. And finally, hiring people, like Will had mentioned. That's our most valuable asset, and we're continually hiring highly skilled employees to support our growth for the near term and for the future. And that's about all I had.
Thank you.
Great, thanks, Taras. We'll start our question and answer period here. So I'll hand this back over to the operator, and we'll start this.
We will now begin the question and answer session. If you have a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. If you wish to be removed from the queue, please press the # sign or the # key. If you're on a speakerphone, please pick up your handset first before dialing the numbers. Once again, if you have a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad. And we're standing by for questions. And from Beacon, we have Ahmad Shaz. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, congrats on the record results. First, I guess, quick question on the deliveries, and I'm just wondering about what's the bottleneck that's causing the delay from you guys receiving the buses to handing off the buses to transit agencies.
Well, our Q1, we had 32 buses for delivery in Q1. Most of those buses didn't arrive in February, towards February or the end of February. So it's just a matter of getting the buses shipped over, getting them in the yard, and then actually getting them out to the customers. Some of the customers, when you're getting into the deliveries to the customers, you end up having a lot of checks and balances in place. The lists, some of the lists, just getting the lists complete and getting them out to the customers. But we are online to deliver those 32 that had come in. We got 12 out. Those will float into our Q2 deliveries, as well as our 55 buses that we had coming in for BC Transit.
Okay, so it's not a function of like limited capacity on retrofitting or any sort of thing.
No, we are up and running and delivering buses on a regular basis out of here now.
Okay, that's good. And if I heard you correctly, Will, I think you said Q2 deliveries will be 30 buses. Should expect?
Yeah, a minimum of 30 buses will deliver in Q2.
Oh. And still looking for 200 this year, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And then just on some house cleaning items here, on the run rate for salaries and wages and R&D, is Q1 level is the level we should be expecting going forward, or given Tara's comments on hiring, so we should expect maybe salaries and wages to tick a little bit more up as we go through this ramp-up year?
Not very much more.
Yeah, it's about the same.
Sure, I'll let our CFO answer that question.
Yeah, we hired quite a bit of individuals to assist us in Q1, and I think we're at the stage where we're not going to see a significant amount of individuals being hired. I think we're hired up right now. You're not going to see that number fluctuate materially.
And same, I'm guessing, for the R&D expense and G&A and all the other expenses should be more or less in line with Q1, so that's a more accurate run rate?
Yep.
Okay.
Correct.
That's very helpful.
I think you'll obviously interest and bank charges go down.
Yeah, that's correct. And on your tax credit receivables, can you give us an update on that number? I remember as of last quarter it was around 13 million. What is the...
Sorry, which number?
The tax credit.
Oh, tax.
Yeah.
You have on the bottom line.
What page are you looking at?
I'm not looking at the financials, but I remember you guys had around 30 million of tax losses, income losses for taxes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, it's approximately 18 to 19 million.
Oh, so now it's 18 to 19
loss.
million? Oh, okay.
Non-capital loss.
Okay. 18 to 19. Okay, that's, I think that's all. I guess one more question, I guess. Is it like you guys are recognizing around 200,000 of lease revenue? Is there any cost associated with that, or that's purely going down to the bottom line as is?
There's some minor depreciation associated with that cost.
But it's nothing significant, right?
Not significant, no.
Not nothing. Okay, I'll jump back in the queue. Thanks a lot for answering my questions, guys.
Thank you.
From Echelon Wealth Partners, we have Gianluca Tucci. Please go ahead.
Hi, guys. It's Gianluca on for Amber. Thanks for taking my questions here. I think you answered this one, but on the pace of deliveries of your 265 bus backlog, I think you said that 200 is coming due in 2017 and the balance out in 18. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, perfect. And then switching to a quarterly perspective for this year, your 55 bus production for the BC Transit, is that 55 all going to come doing in Q2 and Q3, and the balance of the 97 out into Q4?
Correct, yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Thank you. And then just on the American side, it seems that you're still on track with ABG to start production in Atlanta by Q3. Can you share how fast that you feel that you can scale up to 10 buses a month? And on that front, how does bidding appear to be in the U.S. at the current market environment?
The market environment is good. We currently have a lot of open tenders that we're bidding on in the U.S. We want to ramp up much like we did in Canada. You get some key customers, put buses in there, and then secure some large orders. So for our ramp up, we're starting in Q3. We'll start with about 5 buses running through the assembly line, and then we ramp up to 10 per month. Coming out from Q3 into Q4, and we have a scalability to go to 60 per month on the current facility. Okay,
excellent, thank you. And then I think you guys answered this on the OpEx side. I saw that you guys did about $1.7 million in the first quarter. Is that safe to assume that kind of percentage of sales going forward on the OpEx side?
Yeah, I think it's going to be consistent going forward. It'll actually probably be a little lower based on interest going down. You're not going to see that share-based compensation as well. So I think you're going to see it consistent from quarter to quarter.
Okay, perfect. Great. Okay, awesome. And then just finally, from our perspective here, when thinking about alternative propulsion systems like EV, I guess when can we anticipate you guys starting production on those buses?
Well, the technology is there for us. You look at what we've achieved this year. We've ramped up from diesel to CNG. We see that EV power will be there in the future, but it's our estimate that there was less than 50 EV vehicles buses sold in North America for 2017. It's not a very large market that we want to put all of our R&D efforts into, but we will look at it in the future.
Okay, guys, that's excellent. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
From Gryphon Investors, we have Ron Kalbach. Please go ahead.
Well, sadly, most of my questions have been answered. Back to Buy America. What is the rate now that you have to achieve? Is it 65% and then going to 75% in the near future?
Yeah, all buses produced with the 2017 VIN number will be at 60% U.S. content. Going forward, 2018, it does ramp up to 65%. We're fortunate we have an awful lot of U.S. content in our vehicle already, so we don't see that as being any difficult thing to achieve.
What is the content if you had to put together and you're doing the full bus at this point, whether it be diesel, electric, or gas? What is your content? Is it 70-75%?
Well, it varies on a base unit. We meet we can meet the 65% on a base unit. Today, you get a lot of extras that are put on it, a lot of IT equipment that greatly helps us achieve a very higher number. I'll use the last sale that we had down to MARTA. They had over $60,000 of IT equipment, which is counts as a 65 into the 65%. So the numbers really start to increase rapidly when you bring that in. But we've always calculated ours on the base unit, and we don't have any issues meeting the base percentages.
And probably lastly is I was quite surprised the fact that you're able to sell your buses for a greater amount. Could you sort of explain how that has worked out? I mean, it's obviously wonderful, but are we reaching a maximum gross revenue per bus at this point?
No, I think we got some better margins actually going forward. The nice thing for us, it made it very fortunate, is we have a lot of tenders here in Canada. So every tender that's opened, we get to see what the competition's pricing's at, and accordingly, we with the acceptance that we've had in the Canadian marketplace, we've moved the margins up. When you first get your product in, you take a little lower margins to get some market share. Now we're seeing the capability to move those margins up considerably.
Yeah, Ron, it's kind of a double-edged piece as well, because with increased orders, we've got pricing power and efficiencies of production as well.
Right.
So that's you're getting a higher purchase price, but at the same time you're getting a lower cost of goods, operational costs.
Thanks, John. Just one thing, looking at the United States, that's where the action, I guess, will be continuing to be. Any comments on any other possible contracts going forward in the next couple of quarters?
No, we can't call that on open tenders at this point, but we are engaged. We have a considerable amount that we're looking at. For us, our strategy's really been to, work with the ABG group down there. Their headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia. That's why we positioned ourselves for the assembly there. We kind of want to spiral out from that area. Getting this MARTA order is a huge achievement for us. We see that as much being an anchor order, much like our BC Transit order was. They're in the top 10 transit operational agencies in the United States. The buses are performing well. They've indicated that they have a very large need out there. So our intent is just to kind of spiral out from the headquarters of ABG. But it must be noted too that ABG does have 8 locations through the U.S. So we're seeing some activity. It's all good.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay. And we have Robert Bransma online. Please go ahead.
Yes, good morning. My question, I guess, also deals with the U.S. How many possible buses do they turn over every year in the U.S.? And you were saying also that you're looking at the U.S. market more so than the Canadian market. Now, is that because of the U.S. or Canadian dollar being low and being able to have a better chance at winning tenders that way?
Yeah, we've been very successful on the Canadian marketplace here. When you break it down, heavy-duty transit vehicle sales, there's probably approximately 5,500 to 6,000 heavy-duty transit vehicle sales in North America per year. Usually, there's approximately 1,000 in Canada and 5,000 in the U.S. So as you can see, that's really where we see the big market. Having completed our Altoona test and having achieved such high marks on the Altoona, we see that's really a nice market for us to get into. But we're kind of in a mid-sized market. So we've got our mid-sized bus, but the cutaway market is 15,000 to 18,000 vehicles annually sold. When we initially developed our bus, that was the market that we're targeting, and now we've been replacing a lot of 35, 40 footers that are being right sized, so to speak. But the biggest market always has been that cutaway market, and we should see some pretty good penetration in there this year as well.
Thank you.
Hope that helps the question there, Robert.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have Luke Zyke on the line. Please go ahead.
Yes. I was wondering I'm a private investor from Burlington, Ontario. I was wondering how much of these buses are manufactured in China and how much of it is actually added onto in the United States and Canada. For example, if you could break it down by the major components like the frame and the shell, the engine, the transmission, the tires, and then the interior and the painting. What exactly comes over from China and what gets added in Aldergrove and in Atlanta before it gets to the final customer?
Well, you kind of got two questions there, Luke. For the U.S. operations, we need to meet that 60 and 65% U.S. content. That's really achievable for us in the U.S. for 60 to 65%. So then the balance is left from Canada and elsewhere. When we initially bid one of the tenders in Ontario, we achieved over 20% Canadian content. So if that helps you at all. Currently, we see that we probably have about 15% of our overall cost of manufacturing really is done overseas for us.
So what exactly comes over in these shipping containers? Just the frame and the shell? And then the engine, transmission, and everything else gets added in North America? Or what exactly comes across from China?
Yeah, in our U.S. operations, that's the way it is. On our Canadian operations, we bring it in a little bit more finished product.
Okay, so U.S. it's largely the frame, and all the other stuff is added using American materials before it gets to the customer.
Correct. For our U.S. operation, we need to meet Buy America. Buy America, if anybody wants to look it up, you can look it up on the internet. It spells it out very precise and clearly what you have to meet in regards to assembly and U.S. componentry.
Right.
So in essence, yes, the bus that's produced in the U.S. will actually have a U.S. VIN number on it. The buses here in Canada have a Canadian VIN number on it.
Right. Okay. It's all built off the Chinese frame then. Okay, thanks very much for your answer.
Well, when you say Chinese frame, that's, I may clarify that. This product is our product. Grande West owns 100% of the IP for this product. We actually developed that frame, the chassis, everything here in Aldergrove, British Columbia initially. So we're only really using overseas assembly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I understood. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir.
And we have Dan Johnson online. Please go ahead. Dan Johnson, your line is open. Dan Johnson, your line is open. Okay, we'll take the next question. We have a follow-up from Ahmad Shah with Beacon. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, just I guess a question on how we think about pricing and gross margin on buses for the remainder of this year. I know you guys are clearing out some of the older orders with the BC Transit, so should we expect to see pricing consistent with Q1 and gross margins consistent with Q1, which is I think around 17% on bus sales?
Yeah, Ahmad, we should be averaging around 20% gross margins on our deliveries this year, on an average when you blend them all together.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna depending on the production run, it's gonna vary from quarter to quarter. But I think what we've said is, we're shooting for that 20% over the year in 2017.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thanks a lot, guys.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
From Politz, we have Arden Keshiashin. I apologize if I butchered your name. Please go ahead.
No problem. My question is, what would the margins be on the U.S. sales? Seeing the bigger components are going to be U.S. manufactured, so I'm guessing the buses are going to cost more. So is it going to be similar margins as in Canada, or are we going to expect lower margins?
No, the U.S. is a strong market for us. We anticipate the same margins. We anticipate having the 20% gross margins out of the U.S. sales as well.
Really?
It may be a little lower at the beginning or during the startup phase, but over time, that 20% is what we're shooting for.
Really? Okay. And is that the industry average in your?
No, the industry average is actually around 10%.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
And once again, if you have a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And we're standing by for any further questions. And from Grande West, we have Dennis Martin. Please go ahead.
I'm actually a private investor. I'm not really from Grande West. I just had a quick question. Have you received any offers, like buyout offers from like larger companies? So, for example, I'll just throw New Flyer or any other companies out there. That's my question.
Yeah, we can't really comment on that. I mean, we have had some discussions with a few different parties. I can't name them, but if anything is tendered, we'll definitely go through the proper channels to to share it with the shareholders. But nothing in writing.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
And we have Peter Rizecki online. Please go ahead.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for all your hard work. Congratulations on a great quarter. My question is just about the deliveries going ahead, so it follows on some earlier questions. Will or Terrace, could you just walk us through how the delivery process needs to ramp up going out of Q2, where you expect another 30, by getting us to the total of 200 by, if I understand it correctly, by the end of 2017. So it looks like Q3 and 4 are going to be 75-ish each in terms of deliveries, and I just want to understand, if you can, what process you've got in place to get to that kind of delivery rate going forward.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our speaker has just dropped from the call temporarily. Please stand by for just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by. Our speaker has reconnected. And once again, if you have a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And we'll stand by for any further questions.
Yeah, sorry about that. Some technical difficulties. We are gearing up from Q1 to Q2 and so on. Our production line is currently running at 40 buses a month. So we do have a tremendous ramp up in production. And then I think your question, Peter, was more into the delivery side here. Terrace, do you want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so to support the deliveries that are expected in the 200 for the year, it ties back to our expanding our physical location. So we had rented part of a building. Now we are taking over the entire building. We're looking to use technology through an ERP system, but we fully appreciate that takes time to get online. That's a little bit more forward-looking. Hiring a bunch of people. So really, a lot of that effort to support our ramp-up has been taking place over the past number of months, and getting the right people on board to support our scaling. So those are the kind of the key areas that we've been focused on, and I've been focused on the past 60 days.
Hope that helps you, Peter.
Okay, once again, if you have a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. And we have Peter back on the line. Go ahead, sir. Peter, your line is open. Peter, we can't hear you if you're trying to speak.
I'm sorry, I was, thanks again. I'm here.
There you go.
So one further follow-up question is, I'm getting some feedback on my, so maybe I'll just resign my call. We'll talk a little later. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Peter. Thank you.
And we have Jeff Caldwell online. Please go ahead.
Hey guys, congratulations on the quarter. Great to see those numbers ramping up quickly. Question regarding Will, your forecast, or let me rephrase that. If you had to guess on multi-year period moving forward, how much of your forward U.S. sales are going to be in the private market versus the public market? Thanks very much.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, traditionally, when you look at the U.S. market, it's usually 50-50, and it can go 40-60 on either side, from private to public sales. We're mostly focused with our U.S. ramp up on the transit side for our Atlanta assembly to meet the Buy America. So I hope that answers your question. It's roughly 50-50 split between private and public. The private sales do not need to meet the Buy America, so anywhere from 40 to 60% at any given time doesn't need that. Does that answer your question, Jeff?
Yes, thanks. Thanks, Will, it does.
Thank you.
Once again, if you have a question, please press *1, and we're standing by for any further questions. All right, we have no further questions at the moment. John, we'll turn it back to you for our closing remarks.
Great. Well, thanks to everyone for joining us here today. As always, it's a pleasure. Appreciate all your support, and we'll look forward to having another call and after Q2. And you all know where to find me. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This concludes today's conference. Thank you for joining. You may now disconnect.